Thank you everyone for joining us today. We're going to be learning all about social media and video tips from the one and only Patrick McBride. Patrick has been an independent agency owner now for about 10 months. Prior to that, he has worked as a captive agent as well.
When I knew I had to get a real job, insurance was the only thing. So we pursued it. Took a job as a producer, as an aspirant in an agent's office near us. And within about a year and a half, I was opening. Shout out to Jerry Lawrence here, right? Jerry Lawrence is a former MetLife agent with me and at MetLife. So opened my own MetLife agency in 2017. Did extremely well there. We really fit well with the culture and the product. And then through some transitions, we became a farmer's agent for just long enough to say we were one. And then we went indie in April of this last year, April of last year now. So we've been trucking along for just about 10 months now. Nice. Super, super excited. Love our experience. I wouldn't trade anything that we've done because you can always learn from everything. So we're glad to be where we're at and just excited to see what the next year or two brings us.
You know, thinking about that switch to independence, like, did you have to basically start back over from scratch? Because I assume that your book of business wasn't yours, right?
It was not ours. And with some of that transition, we didn't keep our tenure. There was a lot of intricacies there that we don't need to go into, but we walked away, flat walked away. We didn't sell the book. We didn't get any cash value or book value or whatever the proper terminology is there. The farmers agents can tell me in the chat if they want to. But we basically walked away from, we had just shy of $2 million in premium. We had significant revenues on that for what we were doing, and walking away from that with a staff and obviously expenses in an office. We did it and kept all of our staff. That was a big commitment that we had to make. We believe that our customers matter and that people matter, and we've said it for years. We couldn't discard the people that helped us get to where we were by starting over. So we put some plans in place to make sure that they kept their roles, they kept their incomes, they were safe for the first year, and everything was going to be good. So yeah, it was a big shift. Lots of change. Super big shout out to everybody in our office that has helped make that happen.
Nice. So then that seems to correlate with when you started, starting a new agency and you started going heavy, right? You don't have the big brand to lean on. So you kind of created the agency, started doing more social media, and like anything to get get your name out there, right?
Yeah. That brand, I mean, it went a long way. I don't think I realized how far it went until we didn't have it,
right?
Which it made a difference. And even if it was only a 15 or 20% bump in the number of leads we got organically, that's still 20% more leads. And if you're closing a certain portion of those, you could see where the revenues kind of slip out the door and you don't notice it. So we had to find ways to rank more organically online. So the blogs came about. The videos inside the blogs were a natural segue in kind of creating that visual content for our society and our attention spans and what we're all transitioning into. And it's been a massive learning process. I talk to a couple of guys almost daily, and I'm like, I don't know, half the time I'm like, I don't know what I'm doing. I'm just copying what I see everybody else do. And what we're seeing everybody else do is kind of finding that niche and where people are and where they're. That's why I love TikTok, right? You talk about the algorithms. We have historically been a part of a social algorithm where on Facebook, Ray and I, we're friends on Facebook, and we see each other's posts and we can like and comment and share. Where we're transitioning to a discovery algorithm where TikTok and Instagram and Facebook Reels and YouTube Shorts, like all of that content is discovery mode. I don't have to be connected with you at all to see your video.
Right.
And I think that's exciting right now to watch how that goes and grows. And we're probably not the best at it, but by God, we're going to try. And I'm loving it right now. So it's really fun to see which videos kind of hit and do well. We've got some that, 2,000, 3,000, 4,000 views on YouTube Shorts or TikTok or Facebook because they're reels and it's the same content. It's just awesome.
Yeah, definitely. And all the yeah, between the shorts and the reels that are trying to copy what TikTok's doing with that interest-based thing is really interesting. It's going to be helpful, I think, for good content to grow, and then the mediocre stuff just kind of will come and go, as it
Yeah.
always has. So, how much time, I guess, do you invest right now in social media? And I would say between your blog and all that content that you're putting together.
Yeah. So, and I think one of the questions in the chat is if we write our own blogs, we actually have that copywritten. So we spend, and I'll back this up because I want to make this super approachable. And anyone who's not doing anything, I don't want you to see the little time that we spend on it now and get so overwhelmed that you feel like you can't do it. The first blog slash video we did took almost 23 hours for the first week. And clearly that's outside of business hours, right? Because we have to sell something. We're still a scratch agency with 2 full-time staff members, and I've got a wife and a master's program and a daughter in college and other kids. Like we have to make money, so we just have to go sell things. So it took us about 23 hours worth of total time to get the blog. I wrote my first blog. I recorded the first video, and I felt like I had to be perfect. So I recorded. If I would screw up, I would start over. If I screwed up, I'd start over. So it took me 4 hours to record a 4 or 5 minute video,
Yep.
which was ridiculous. Don't ever do that. Cut out, learn how to edit and cut sections of video out. And then editing and then publishing and what schedule to publish and what platform to publish on and how to edit it and where to post it and how to create my blog. So it took us an enormous amount of time the very first time. And one of the pieces that we say is small repeatable steps. Everywhere you see me speak, everything you ever hear me say, I will always say small repeatable steps. So implement, learn, and grow, right? Whatever you do, execute, learn, and grow every single time. So now we spend, I like to say I spend no more than 5 hours a week with everything from writing the blog, recording the video, editing the video, publishing the videos, and beyond just publishing the regular videos, we have the promos or shorts that go with it. We have a couple of regular posts that tie back to the blog itself for some social proof and some backlinking and all the good reasons there. We also, over the last 6 or 7 weeks, it's not even been that long. One of the pieces that we're learning is consistency is greater than content, and your distribution is the greatest asset you have. I can push publish, but that's not necessarily the end. So we started an email distribution chain. So that goes out too, and that links back to the YouTube video. And learning the algorithms, when we should send that, how often we want to get people to YouTube, and making sure that they get there within a certain amount of time after that video goes live is apparently a huge, huge deal to YouTube. So when we learned that, we started it. And, I think just to reemphasize that you don't have to know all of this today, and you don't have to do all of it tomorrow. Do what you can. Learn, get better, grow, execute, learn, get better, grow, execute, right? It's small, repeatable steps, man. It's super simple when you break it down that way.
Yeah. So you had put together some slides. Maybe we want to run through that, and then we can continue kind of our Q&A if there's anything else that we haven't covered. And I appreciate you putting together those slides and curating your thoughts.
Find my screen here, and I will absolutely share.
There you go.
All right. Can you see that?
Yep.
Excellent. So I definitely titled this, "If I Can Do It, So Can You." And there is no reason that anybody can't do this. So one of the biggest things that you'll see, so you see founder of the McBride Agency and Clover Shield Risk Solutions. We're learning, and just a shout out again to Ciara, how branding and last name agency has a specific stigma. So our commercial side of our business is the Clover Shield Risk Solutions is all a commercial division of our agency. So everything kind of funnels in there with its branding and its typography. So I really just wanted to kind of run through this, right? We know about me. We don't need to hear some of the boring stuff. So let's go the next slide here. The most important thing you can do is create entertaining content. That's exactly why this is the first slide. Now, these are actual posts that we've made, right? We use a couple different tools, and I'll get to some of the tools that we use, but we'll go and take different memes and kind of do something like this, right? So you driving along peacefully and your teenager getting their license. We all know that. We all have clients who've got a 15-year-old and they're so afraid of what's going to happen. When you kind of poke fun at it a little bit, you let them know that you understand, you're empathizing with your audience, but you're doing it in a fun and entertaining way. So you have to take the time to disrupt complacency, right? And you've heard the word stop the scroll, right? You've got to do a creative enough image to stop the scroll. Well, memes, like I'm a meme guy, right? So I know I like memes. I follow meme channels. My son is a professional, moderately professional Twitch streamer, so I follow a lot of what he says and does, and kind of in that culture, there's just a lot of fun there, and it's just a lot of taking serious interactions and making them less intimidating. So if we can look at a message like this, it's a big deal. So content is absolutely the next frontier, and its importance, I don't think, can be mitigated by any business, let alone insurance agents, especially local and community-minded insurance agents. It's going to help break through the noise of all the social media and capture the attention of customers. And this is the important part, right? When we talk about, you see the picture here in front, this is something that you would see in a social algorithm, right? Ray and I are connected. I make a meme post, you see it, my content. I always comment. There's always a Canopy link in my comments. So, look how easy it is, like link in the comments to get a full review of your policies. And there's our Canopy link that's branded again, right? So, and that's not necessarily a commercial for Canopy, but it is, because that's exactly how we use it every time. But that social algorithm is connecting with people I already know and understanding the circumstances. This Johnny Depp on the back, that was we've all seen Pirates of the Caribbean, and the scene where the admiral or whatever he is says, "But you are by far the worst pirate I've ever seen." And he's like, "Yeah, or ever heard of?" He's like, "But you have heard of me." Well, we took that same video and we cut it up and we said, "You are by far the worst insurance agent I've ever seen." And then but you have heard of me. And then there's a clip of me at the end going, I really hope you've never hear that we're the worst you've ever heard of. We do hope you've heard of us. Give us a call, shoot us a text, whatever you can. And that went relatively viral for what we saw. And it was almost by no one. It was seen by almost no one we're already connected with. So that discovery algorithm, those reels, the TikToks, the YouTube shorts, really, really pushed that. So doing both of those types of posts, it helps break through the regular noise of the feed, and it also helps to establish at least a warm presence in the community when you start to say things that are important and you start to speak from it. It makes you relatable. When people are entertained, they're more likely to engage with their content. They're going to share your content. They're going to laugh at it. They're going to remember it. And creating it's important to understand who your audience is and what they find interesting and engaging. Use humor. Use storytelling, use relatable examples to make your content more interesting, and obviously use different formats. Let's go. Yep. So the next step here really is, so once you understand to create entertaining and engaging content is, these are my pro tips, right? These are the video tips. This is the complex piece. This is actually a screenshot of a recent video we did. I think it's last week's video. Inside Premiere. So to answer the question for everybody asking, what do I use to edit? We edit in Premiere Pro, just because it's a little more expensive, but the ease of use, once you learn how to use it, the learning curve is steep, but once you learn how to use it, there's nothing it can't do. But the reason we chose video is because it allows us to convey such complex information in a way that our audience can digest. And that's what I'm looking for. I can say everything I want in any way imaginable, but if people aren't going to digest what we're saying, or if they're not captivated by how we're saying it, they're gone, right? It allows you to showcase expertise, to build trust with current and potential clients, and it allows them to kind of get a behind the scenes look. I can say you need matching coverage for your house, but what does matching coverage mean? What does that typically mean on a policy? How does that affect me as a homeowner? And we can have real conversations going through that. HubSpot did just to share this, like HubSpot did an incredible study that I'll find the link for, Ray, and I'll make sure that you get that, about how videos are currently the most effective form of content marketing, just based on social algorithms and then Google search algorithms, all of that together. Effective video content brings your audience, it just brings them into a different place. And there's a lot of different pieces here. So you've got social behaviors where you'll see captions on almost every video we do. No matter if I'm saying the exact same thing, captions are not important. Our captions are so important because how many times are you sitting somewhere, you're waiting for a meeting to happen, or you're in, at the bus stop, or you're at the grocery store, and you're just scrolling through and you see a video, but there's no subtitles, there's no captions, and you can't turn it on because you don't know what I'm going to say, right? There are times I'm on TikTok and my kids are around and maybe I don't want them to hear some of the language my TikTok feed provides. So I either put an AirPod in or I turn it off. So captions play to your clients or your prospects, your audience's actual behavior. So when they're standing in the grocery store or standing in line in the DMV, they can scroll and they can stop and read while you're talking and be entertained. And then the other social pattern here is attention spans. So Twitter is the perfect example. 140 characters or less for how many years, and it's still addictive. When you have to publish so quickly, you're on to the next subject. You're on to the next tweet. You're on to the next post so quickly. We insert GIFs or memes. Actually, if you look at this page, this is our main video page. This is our, this next line up here. This is actually, this is our main video page right here. This is actually the video we're editing. This next line up, every 15 to 20 to 30 seconds, there's a meme or a GIF, something in line, keeping someone's attention, because the average attention span is less than 30 seconds. So if every 15 to 20 seconds, I throw a GIF in your way and you go, that was funny. All right. Hopefully I find it funny. Our audience is not, they're not telling me they hate it. So we kind of run with that one.
Yeah. I think that circles back into like your pattern disruption, right? Because you can, you're a good looking guy, but they only want to stare at your talking head for so long that you've got to do something to interject there.
There's not much else other than these beautiful glasses and this great, glorious beard. That's, and what my mom called a 5-head, even before I lost my hair, right? But that pattern disruption, that disrupting complacency, finding ways to keep their attention for just another couple of seconds. And you'll actually see down here, this is actually audio that typically goes with those memes or GIFs that we use. And I'll share a resource that we can publish in there. And you've got down at the very bottom, there's your music track in the background. But we use, obviously there's different types of software out there that are valuable. The biggest thing that I want everyone to understand is you have to build a brand, and you have to build a consistent brand, 100%. So all of our videos, and this is not, I hate this slide because it's my face all over the place. Every time you see a short or a story, you see this logo at the top, and it's either white or black. We have 3 primary logos. We have the stacked vertical or the stacked horizontal. We've got our map marker, which looks a lot like this, or we've got the side by side. Somewhere, anywhere you look on all of our videos, there is typically the map marker, or there's some form of one of these 2 other logos, because that brand helps you stand out. It helps create that trust. It helps create that highly recognizable section. When they thought one video was funny, maybe they're going to watch the next one. All of our thumbnails have the same sort of feel, right? All the text is nearly identical here, with a torn paper, our map marker, and some sort of image behind us that's relevant to the video itself. And these are, whether they're square, whether they're 9x16 or they're 16x9 going on YouTube, it's the same caption or thumbnail, the same text. It's just in a different format every time to create that brand identity, and it helps us step apart from everything else out there. So the question that I know everyone is dying to ask is, what resources do we use? So I broke this down into 4 specific areas. This is not at all exhaustive. This is just a really great place to start. And these are really my favorites. So creative, I use Canva for almost anything. As a matter of fact, this presentation was not only made in Canva, I'm presenting it from Canva right now. And yesterday when Ray and I were talking, I sent him a link to this so I can share this link with Ray, and he can see everything I did. And if I go change something, it changes on his end in real time. So creative, Canva. For all of our regular memes, I have a small subscription to Mematic. It's an app for your phone where we can put in our own, we uploaded our own images for watermarks. We use Giphy for all of our GIFs and things that go on our videos. We can actually download those or save those videos or GIFs for free and then just import them in. Epidemic is actually what we use for all of our audio tracks. It's royalty. It's not royalty free. It's a subscription base. But when you have it, you sync in your YouTube and your social media channels so they don't flag it. And it's unique video and audio. We can get songs, we can get backtracks, we can get sound effects. Everything we use that has a sound that's not made by me comes from Epidemic. For recording, Ray, you'd probably laugh at this. Some of our videos are really professional looking now. They're getting there. But we started with, I had a $20 tripod that I put my phone in. I had a stool that we used to have a plant in the office on the stool, but it was too rickety. We didn't trust the stool anymore. And I stacked up 4 boxes from Lightspeed Voice that had our phones in them when we got them. And they sat on top of the stool. And then I just set my Yeti mic on top of it. And then I would plug my Yeti mic into my phone with a 20-foot cord I got on Amazon for $6. And I literally walked around my office with my phone in the tripod, and I would turn and wait to see where in the office had a good enough background that I looked like I wasn't just on some random wall, but also had enough light coming the right directions or certain times of day. So I ended up in a weird corner of my office over here that no one ever sees except for videos. But we literally did that, and I set the box up, and I didn't have any lights. I didn't have any special sound equipment. I didn't edit any color. I literally walked in, put my phone in the tripod, plugged in my Yeti, and I just talked. And the Yeti was just slid right out of frame so you couldn't see it. That was how we started. So recording, we now have a teleprompter, mostly because I need notes. I'm good, but I will have a lot more edits to cut out if I don't use the teleprompter. Lighting is a really great way to take that video to the next level. Always have a microphone. Even if you don't have to buy the big expensive mics. You can get a $30 wireless mic that plugs into your phone on Amazon that works perfectly.
Yep.
Editing softwares, there's a ton of free resources out there. DaVinci Resolve is actually one of the less expensive options. iMovie, if you have a Mac, is free and you can use it there. CapCut is really great as well. It's actually, but it's native to your phone. I don't know. They have a web version. I don't know how to use it, so I don't. And then ClipScribe is actually what we use for a really long time for our captions until we learned how to do it in Adobe, and that saves us a ton of time. But if you don't have Adobe and you're not using something that has captions built in, ClipScribe does an incredible job, and it's like $8 a month. It's super brilliant. And then scheduling, Trello is number 1 here. That is my internal schedule. We actually have a timeline in Trello. It's all for project management. We kind of put ideas in one place, and then we go editing or recording, editing, publishing, and done. So we kind of stack things through the schedule, and each of those steps has a checklist that we kind of check off as we go. Buffer for social posting, but Buffer and Hootsuite kind of that social posting when you want to schedule something out. And Canva actually has its own function where you can create content in Canva, and then you can schedule it out to your linked profiles directly from Canva, which is brilliant.
Nice.
And I know I have a slide for questions here, but I feel like we've gone through a lot so far.
Yeah, and just to add to more tools, there's certainly plenty of other free or inexpensive, software out there for video editing, for recording, tripods for your iPhone or your whatever camera, your phone you're using as your camera are cheap, 20 as low as like $15 probably, and as fancy as you want to get. Like you said, the mics, I think both you and I are both using this.
Yeah, the Blue Yeti.
Yep, that's a good one. And then video editing, I think I'll just to add to your list, Camtasia is like $200, and it's a lot simplified and like much easier to use and a lower learning curve, I think, than an Adobe Premiere or.
We started on Camtasia, actually. It was, we had it for something else in the past, but I saw within the first month and a half, we saw that we were clearly going to do this long term, and it was bogging our system down, even though we had updated to the 2022 version. It just, it was taking a lot of energy to do what we wanted it to do.
Mhm.
But you can easily do it. And we did Camtasia for a lot of stuff.
Yep.
I still like it, but yeah, um, you're spot on
Yeah.
there.
And then I think on jumping back to Canva, like if you pay, I think going pro is like their pro account's like $13 a month
Yeah.
or something like that. It's pretty cheap, and it gives you whole access to a whole library of like stock photos and some audio as well, that you can use, which has been really, you know, I use Canva for most of our stuff as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, sorry
Uh,
to just wanted to
no,
add a little more context there.
Canva makes me look way more professional than I am. So this, like I said, this entire slideshow was built in Canva. I found one of their templates. I changed the colors to match my agency colors. So this blue that you see here is our agency blue. These are some of our fonts that we use. So we having that brand, building that brand with your fonts and your colors, it's imperative. But we're able to build that brand in Canva, and then when I want to go do something, all the colors are selected. My fonts are readily available. My headings, my subheadings, all of that stuff. Spending the time on the front end is massive. Um, kind of to hit this page real quick. One of the biggest questions we get when we talk to people, and I will share this freely with anyone ever. There's no secrets in this. There's no secrets really in this. So what we do is we started with answering the 25. I think we wrote down our goal was 25 of the most commonly asked questions, and we just made videos on them, and we turned those videos into blogs, and we would post the two together, right? So we had 25 weeks worth of content with an afternoon of brainstorming. And then we just took it. Why does my insurance agent need to know if I have pets? Why does the age of my utilities matter? Why does my insurance company make sure my roof is no less than 20 years old? Little questions, right? When do I need to add my teenage driver? My teenager went off to college, so I need to keep them on my insurance. Like the questions that we receive and we field every day. Spend an hour or 2 hours to a brainstorming session, get your teams involved, get other people involved. Get other agents involved. Like, hey, what questions did you come up with? What questions did you come up with? Right? Write down those 25 questions and start there. From there, start to niche down. You start to go in and you dive in. Like, let's talk a little more about policy level coverages. What makes our agency different than the next agency? Well, we can offer policies with water seepage and leakage, where that's only on 3 carriers in a country so far, at least in Illinois that we know of. There are some things that make our policies different. We don't ever say names. We want to build the brand of McBride or Clover Shield, right? We don't want to build each individual carrier because we know how that fluctuates. And when they're having a bad year, I don't want people to remember that. I want them to remember us and the good things we did. And then after you start to dive down deep and you get through your 25 questions and writing down, I think somebody asked, right, what we do. We just literally said, what questions are customers asking most commonly? So we wrote down those questions. And then we started to niche down, like, let's get a little more specific, a little more coverage or policy level detail. And then we started, we're just starting now to do the insurance adjacent content, things that matter to our clients that we can either bring an expert in or talk about when your property taxes go up, when storm chasers or the real estate market or why home inspections matter, little things like that, where we can have those conversations, or whether it's insurance adjacent or it's community related, you can start building that and starting to be that local hero for your community. When you start talking about your niche and your region, that's pretty specific. And that we have found that to be really hard. One of the harder things, because we service such a large area. Our town is relatively small. We've got a relatively small population base, and we can't talk about Dixon, Illinois exclusively, because Dixon's only got 16,000 people, and there are 16 agencies in town, including mine. There are 15 other agencies in a town of 16,000 people. So we can't just talk about that. So we are a little more broad and a little more vague in that. But that's that next step in our process, is making sure we have insurance adjacent content to go with that. And I think the last real slide here is, the best marketing doesn't feel like marketing. When you talk about social media and you talk about videos, it's got to be fun. If you have fun, if you are you, and maybe you're not a fun person, that doesn't mean you're bad. Be yourself. Because when Ray's Ray and I'm me, and whoever's watching, right? If you're you, Ryan England, I know you're out there, right? If Ryan's Ryan, I'll never be Ryan. Ryan will never be me. But if we're ourselves and you just be yourself, your prospects, your ideal prospects, your customers, the community, they're going to remember you. And that's really like, that's what we do in a nutshell, right? Hey, it's me in a nutshell. Sorry.
There's the meme right there.
So I definitely wanted to I leave this slide on everything. Makes me look like a hero. This is the hero slide, right? Made in
Love
Canva, by the way.
There you go. Awesome. Well, we've got about 18 minutes left. And one of the things that I did want to talk about was your recent holiday campaign. And that's one that jumped out to me.
There's nothing quite like receiving a letter in the mail. However, when that letter is from Santa Claus, it's a little more special. The McBride Agency is giving your little ones a very magical touch this winter with letters from Santa Claus. Click the link in our comments or find us on our Facebook page, and you can actually see how to give your little one a letter directly from Santa Claus, completely free, courtesy of the McBride Agency. Yeah, that was the brainchild of my wonderful operations manager, who I have had the pleasure of being married to for about 20 years. She came up with an idea. She just wanted to give back and to be something that it's not always about the business, right? We leverage our business, and we have this type of business and this type of community because we want to make the kind of impact that we had people make on us, we want to make on other people. So we decided to give away letters from Santa Claus to kids. So we developed a process where people filled out a quick form, and then we did everything on the back end where we wrote letters to children from the perspective of Santa Claus with some customized information. So, and Ray, I hope you don't mind, like, you actually submitted your children's information in there. And we did that. So we wrote 2 custom letters for your kids that were different from each other. And we wanted to be a part of the magic that was going to create. Awesome. Yeah. We wanted to be a part of the magic that would create to your family. And that was it. Like, that was the entire goal. How can we do this? And there's nothing on this letter. There's nothing on the envelope. There's not a stuffer. There's nothing here that says anything about our agency. Now, that's not to say that we didn't use it for our agency, because we absolutely did. Everybody who put their information in here, we sorted and filtered, and we actually dropped them into a campaign inside our CRM that bridged out and started actually sending the 9th of January. We started sending out, hey, if you loved that, we're so glad you loved that. We're able to do things like that because of amazing clients like you. Can we quote your home and auto insurance for the new year? And then anybody who didn't just flat out say no and stop the automation right there, the next morning they said, I'm sorry I didn't get a chance to call you yesterday, but if you'd like to move forward with some quotes, here's a link that you can use to get started or import your policies directly in, and we'll do a full review whether you move forward with anything or not. And it was our Canopy link. And we have seen some really great successes on that. We're still getting people to fill that link out and actually drop stuff in. Is I think we just got some the other day, which was really, really cool.
Yeah. So Ryan's asking how many letters did you send out, or how many quotes were you ultimately able to do it now that we're, I think we're a month after, or you've had the campaign running, the follow-up campaign running now for a few weeks.
So we sent letters to everyone who wasn't already an existing client, who didn't live in a state that was not a state that we serviced, right? So Ray, you don't live in one of our 4 or 5 states, so you did not get that campaign. I thought about leaving you on there just so you could see it and be proud that we used your link so effectively. And and then we had to abide by some rules and some contracts we had with the previous carrier. So we removed anyone from that list, so we didn't directly or indirectly solicit to them. So we ended up with 165 local leads, local-ish, or ideal prospects, so to speak. And if I'm not mistaken, we didn't turn on any phone calls on our automation. So this was a relatively passive. Again, this is we really the goal of this was to give. So I think we got out of those 165. I think we actually got right at 10% of those people requested quotes with no phone calls, just text and email. And our form said you agree to the solicitation, right, about insurance. We're going to text you. So we have all that stuff done for TCPA compliance and that craziness. But we have written, I want to say $25,000 or $30,000 worth of premium off of that. We've got an apartment complex that we'll write next week, which is significant premium. We'll kind of bump that number by another 50% next week. So all in. And if we look at that, we bought the paper, we got the envelopes, we mailed all of those letters. We mailed in bulk to Anchorage, Alaska. So we had to pay for postage all the way to Anchorage, Alaska to get everything there. So they were postmarked from the North Pole, and then they were sent back. So we had postage 2 ways on every letter.
That was a nice touch, by the way, because
thank you.
Comes back here from the Alaskan frontier, and
yeah,
and then you're like your North Pole 8888 zip code. Like my son, he's a big science nerd. He went and he looked it up. He's like, oh, it really is. So I think you may have bought like a couple more years of belief from a 10-year-old, which is awesome. Amazing.
That is amazing. I've got an 8-year-old who hasn't believed in years because I've got a 12-year-old and a 19-year-old, right? Like, to kind of go from there. So it was special to me. I'll be real honest. Do we want to break even on what we spent? Yeah, like duh. Do we want to gain clients? Of course we do. But for me, as the guy who was able to do something so spectacular, to receive the texts back, to see the pictures from people texting over like, oh my God, my kids were so excited. And they sent pictures of their kids with their letters and their eyes real big and the smiles as big as they could be. Like that was just like, that's what we're here for.
Yeah.
Like it's not about the money. It's not about the fame or the success level. It's about being able to make that kind of impact on somebody that drives me. And maybe you are. And you know what, if you are, good for you. That's what drives me. That made my day for real. So we love it. We're going to tie that into another promotion in the spring, where we know that those 165 people, whether they do insurance from us or not, they've got elementary-ish aged kids. And we're going to leverage all those people to give again back to our community with another giveaway for Teacher Appreciation Week, first week of May. So kind of April, we'll do a teacher nomination. Every teacher that's nominated gets we're working with a local coffee shop to see if they'll give us 1 free cup of coffee for anybody in town that was nominated. And then whoever wins gets a substantial gift basket kind of thing. But we know that audience is their ideal client, right? They're local, they have kids. We just want to continue to we want them to see us give to things that they care about. And that was big for us. And I don't know if anybody asks, yes, all of the people that went into that list, all of their emails went into our email marketing campaign. So they all get a weekly email saying, go check out our YouTube channel, for sure. So kind of tying those pieces together, you can do great things and you can just leave it at that, or you can make sure to build your brand and consistency by answering those questions and being a resource and being that local expert 100% of the time.
Yeah. And I can test. I'm getting some of those emails. Probably not all. I'm not on like the hot prospects list because I'm out of state, but I do get his little updates.
The Monday morning.
Yeah.
Monday morning, go to YouTube and make sure my algorithm gets kicked up a little bit. Right. Just keep doing it.
like.
Yes, please.
Awesome. So one more thing, I think, just as a follow on, we've got Valentine's Day coming up in a couple weeks. I thought it'd be good for us to together, kind of brainstorm and just kick around some ideas, inspiration that some of the folks that have been on and stayed on for the last 40, 50 minutes can take away. Maybe, thinking like small bite-sized things that they could do just to kind of get them started, give them some ideas to move forward. So one of the ideas that I could think of is kind of writing like the coattails of your Santa letter thing was, and I think this is a pretty common tactic, but you could do some sort of raffle of a dinner date on Valentine's Day. You go make a reservation at 7 p.m. at some fancy restaurant that has a prefixed menu, and use some very interesting creative, use video, even if it's just a video of you talking and introducing that promo, or you can get really cute with it, right? Weird
So
filters.
I totally cheated, 100% cheated, and I used Chat GPT to give me a list of 5. So, but my second one, the second one on that list was totally partner with a local florist or a restaurant and not raffle, right? But give away a package for that, right? So, hey, submit your information, and again, you can tie it to a quote. Hey, let us quote your auto insurance, your home insurance. So in Illinois, we can do anything we want for a quote. We just can't tie that gift to a purchase.
Right.
So we don't like to do that. We like to say, a lot of times we'll do, enter to win this. And then once you enter, we'll send a follow-up text or a follow-up email from our CRM that says, hey Ray, you're entered 100%, no purchase necessary. But if you want 5 additional entries, we'll give them to you free of charge as long as you let us quote your home insurance by using this link. And then we'll send that Canopy link over. And if they fill out the link, we then go back through and manually add 5 to their, again, not tied to purchase, but kind of leverages that for us. But that was my number one. I'd love to see what anybody else says.
Yeah, if anyone else has ideas they want to throw in the chat, like this is a group brainstorm session, so we can talk through some of those for the next few minutes. The idea you had mentioned partnering with a local florist or something is literally the day of Valentine's Day, right? And you could do some posts in advance. Swing by my office, pick up some flowers so you're not looking like a fool when you get home.
Oh, that's brilliant.
Right? And like that's just give them away. They can give you just some modest amount of information if you want to do it as a lead capture thing, and then you can do all your follow-up things that while supplies last, so you control your costs.
You win.
You
absolutely win.
Because
I love that. You know what? I'm doing that this year. We'll go buy like 10 or 15. We have a client that's a florist. Go in and like, hey guys, let me get 10 or 15 Valentines something. Help me out, right? Give it to me at cost or something, and then do a post and say, hey, we're partnering with this florist. Would you, if you're needing something, come on by. We got it. All we need is name, email, phone number. It's yours for free, my friend.
Yeah. Here's a better idea. Single rows to do it. Use your Canopy Connect link and send that information over. You get the dozen. How's that?
Now we're cooking with bacon. Now, that's going on the notepad here. I love it.
All right. What else? What other ideas did you have? Did Chat GPT come up with for you?
So they came up with some really generic stuff, but create a Valentine's Day themed home safety checklist and offer a discounted home insurance rate for those who complete it. They can't do that. So the one that I did like was run a social media campaign of testimonials, people who have filed a claim or who have experienced our service, like see if we get them on video. And we do this a lot. We'll actually do Zoom videos with testimonials. We'll grab them and then we'll push them as retargeting. So only if you've been in our pipeline for something and specific in our pipeline, like we just don't want this going out to anybody. But doing it more like Valentine's lovey-dovey feel, kind of having that Valentine's. I love the McBride agency.
Yeah.
And having all the hearts. That was a good one. or doing like a security audit, like a home security audit. Like, what do you have? Where are your windows? Where are your doors? Do you lock them? Do you have alarms? Do you have trees covering sight lines and egress? Security, things like that. But it wasn't as good as I thought it was going to be.
Yeah.
It's done me well a couple of times, but if you get one good idea out of there, just by telling it, my prompt was generate 5 ideas for an insurance agent to deploy to help create home insurance leads for Valentine's Day. So super, super easy there.
Yeah. I guess this is maybe a good segue just while some people are like, oh, what the heck's ChatGPT? So ChatGPT is this AI chatbot thing that lets you can basically ask it anything you want, and obviously the better your prompt is for it, it's going to return it. So you can write, what are some good ideas for insurance agents to do for a Valentine's Day promotion, and that'll spit out a list of a bunch of those. I've used it to kind of get me out of like writer's block sometimes, right? Like you have a rough outline. You put in those 3 bullet points and you're like, hey, write me like 500 or 1500 words on this, and it'll spit it out, and it's pretty damn good. And it's like, I mean, it'll turn around in like seconds, right? Like 20 seconds or less. If you
The
can get
prompt
in,
is what will do it.
crowded.
Keep working with your prompt. Keep telling it what you want. Tell it to put you or give you subheadings, SEO rich context with this as your keyword. You just keep building that prompt out and you get better and better. I've had it rewrite the same thing 4 or 5 times. I go, okay, rewrite this, but in the tone of Ryan Reynolds. And it's crazy what it does. Or in the tone of Deadpool, or it's just something to be fun with, right?
Yeah.
We did one with Smeagol I think from Lord of the Rings.
Schmeagol, nice.
Schmeagol, yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, those are some ideas. If you're like, I don't know what to write, I don't know what to talk about, like you can use that as a starting point, for a script that you want to use to record your first video. Like those are real quick, like barrier breakers, I'll call them, that you can try.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There are some questions in the chat. Can we answer some of these here?
Yes, let's go through some of those. Christy's got questions about your teleprompter. She wants to know more about your teleprompter.
Yeah, Amazon. I just put in teleprompter that will hold an iPhone, or will use an iPhone. So I found it was like $85 or $100. It sits on a regular tripod, just screws into the bottom, and I use my iPad as a teleprompter app. So it just slides in, and then the glass reflects in my camera, or my, now that you see, right? So my phone's here, the screen is, or the glass is here, and my iPad's sitting there. So when I look at the glass, I can see all the words. And for the most part, it's just prompts to tell me what to say next, so I don't get lost in my own thoughts, and I kind of keep myself focused. So, the silver squirrel doesn't take me off track.
So you use it more as notes and bullet points to make sure you're covering what you want, or are you more of like Ron Burgundy, Anchorman?
There are some more complex subjects that we have been almost like, I'll write it all out, and I will write it as I would speak it, even though we have a lot of this copy written and it's written for us. I never just publish what they give me. It's always, I go through it like, this is how I speak. This is the voice of our agency, and I'll go modify before I post the blog, and the video content's the same thing. So we go through that, and there are some more complex issues that I want to make sure that I'm not messing something up. And I've written it a certain way to keep my conversation, factual, but vague at the same time, because you and I both know, and I think everybody listening, insurance is so specific and situationally specific, and your policy and your region and your carrier is so different. We don't want to give too many specifics, because what happens if I make that post today and suddenly Safeco changes their policy language, and that doesn't work anymore. And that's a big deal for us. So we make sure, and we want that conversation. I don't want you just to watch the video. I want you to click the link and set an appointment with our team. So, hey, if you want to learn more about your policy and specifics, schedule time with our team using the links below. and that's
Right.
really common for us to say. Um, I think there was
Yeah.
one about anonymous here in the Q&A said, you're younger, you're 21, older people won't understand the same jokes. They won't, and that's okay. If you make meme jokes and you make funny jokes that are relevant to your audience and your clients, go for it. If somebody doesn't get it, okay,
They
that's all
just keep
right. Not
scrolling. Yeah.
they just keep scrolling. Yeah, you make the content for the audience you want to attract. If you want to attract the 21, 22-year olds, and I had a producer for a long time that did, and he loved single car renters because he was always able to leverage that into a longer term relationship. I don't even like my own 20-year-olds at home, let alone somebody else's. I'm kidding. If anybody out there sees this, um, we but we focus on where we want to be, right? I'm a little younger than minded than most people my age, I think. So I just do what I think is funny. I don't care what anybody else thinks.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that's the key. It's just like, just do it, and you'll kind of find your footing, I think, as you go and as you refine. You're like, that didn't work.
Yeah,
Try something else. And sometimes like something that's perfectly good. Like I think your Joker meme, I think I saw it maybe before it got taken down, or you changed it. But like I love that, right? But
yeah,
I'm also like superhero Marvel DC junkie, so
yeah.
like I'm gonna stop and, and watch that even if it was anything else.
It got a
Um
ton of traction on TikTok, but YouTube was like, nope, we're not playing that game.
yeah.
So YouTube's pretty strict on that.
Yeah, yeah.
Um,
So I do want to thank everyone for coming. We'll continue asking a few additional Q&A questions here, a little overtime special. Um, Make sure if you're new to Canopy Connect or you want to join Canopy Connect, I put a link in the chat there, which is a link to Patrick's referral code, which will get you $50 off when you sign up. He'll also get a little referral bonus as well. And for any existing Canopy Connect users, remember that you do have a referral code like that and you are encouraged to use it. And if you're not already, please also join our Canopy Connect user group. You need to be a user to join, and then you'll just get approved really quick. And Patrick is always in there sharing memes, as am I, and uh, also helpful and useful information, campaigns, and ideas. And like, how did you work around this situation? Like, there's a lot of helpful advice in there as well. So please join that. So thanks for joining. We'll move on to overtime segment. Patrick, if you still have a few minutes to
yeah,
hang out, we've still got like 90 people on the webinar. So
yeah.
I think everyone is very interested here.
I think the most common question I see that I haven't answered was CRM. We use Agency Zoom for our CRM. We have used a couple, and for the complexity that we do some things, Agency Zoom has been great. I always recommend Better Agency 2 for the CRM. With things they're growing and their trajectory is incredible. I love what they do. If you're not techie, they have so much that's already done. You can walk in the door and turn things on. And that was a huge benefit to us when we went indie. We started with them and we just recently transitioned because we kind of have our feet underneath us and we wanted some more complexity. So that was a big one. And then Mike's Ryan asked, I use the Blue Yeti here at my desk, but I also bought, and you can just search for wireless iPhone mics or whatever. So this is actually the mic I use for our videos, and that just syncs right into my phone. There's a wireless dongle that plugs into my phone, and I record all of our videos from my phone. The teleprompter, actually there are teleprompter apps that we used to start with that we would use the front facing camera, and the phone was the teleprompter and the camera. The actual teleprompter we have now allows me to use the rear facing camera so I can get better lighting and better color and better video, and we can record into up to 4K. Like it's a big deal for us. So like just taking those steps, I think one of the slides said, learn, grow, repeat, or do what you can, learn and grow. Every week I add something or learn something or get better at something else.
Yeah, I'm sure that teleprompter also helps with just like maintaining the right eye line, because I don't use the teleprompter, but I've worked through some different hacks where I've got, a script or notes, and up I have a camera on a tripod right
Yep.
in front of the notes. I'm trying to like look just past,
Yeah.
you know, the camera, but then it's tricky, right? Because you got to like maintain your eye line. So without like
Yeah.
looking up here and looking over here, like
And the app we
oh,
used, even with the forward facing camera, it would, if this whole thing is my screen, it
yeah.
would put the text right near the camera.
Mhm.
So even though my phone is this big, I'm not staring off over here at the camera where the text is. It's actually lined up with the camera, which is perfect.
Yeah. Yeah.
Uh,
And then worst case, you can always pretend you're on a podcast and just kind of move your camera so you're looking at the you're looking this
you know
way.
what? That's
You gotta
actually
have your
brilliant.
microphone
With
up so you look like you're an important
Yeah,
podcaster. And
I think I think that might actually go for some videos.
yeah.
You know how hard it is to light a face with these big, massive glasses on and these big sunken eyes. Like, my wife hates me, and she's a photographer. She was a photographer for years, so she knows more about it than I do. But she's like, she thinks it's impossible. I'm like, whatever, it's good enough. And she gets mad at me. So
Yeah.
I'm the king of that's good enough.
Yeah. So I've got a question here from Brad. He wants me to talk a little bit about Canopy Connect. I'm trying not to make this a whole Canopy Connect commercial, but that's okay. If you ask, I will answer.
Yeah.
He wants to know about the higher level of Canopy Connect. So we have we introduced some new pricing tiers back in October or November. So we have the agency starter plan, which is $100 a month. You get 50 pulls a month through that, and 5 user seats. And then there's some overage charges. I think it's like $2 per additional pull. If you need more than 5 seats, it's $15 per additional seat. I don't think we have a limit on the number of like unique links you can make. It's 20 or 50 if you need that. Um, so that's all included. On the next tier up is the agency plus plan. So you get more pulls per month. That runs to $250 if you're on the month to month plan. You get 125 pulls, 10 seats. The big thing that you get there is additional integration. So we have direct integrations now with PL rating. We're working on ones with easy links, agency MVP, which is the CRM system. And then this year we're putting a big focus on building out more and more of those integrations. Turbo Raiders coming, as well as eventually we're going to be connecting up with agency Zoom and other ones. I don't know if I'm officially allowed to say that. Um, what's totally coming down the pipeline, but that's going to be a big focus, and that's going to be a big part of what you get, because now it's like you send out your Canopy link, you pull in the insurance information, and now it's enriched. I say the plus plan also includes enriched property data now. So you'll know what their foundation's built out of, what their roof is, and bedroom, bathroom square footage, all that stuff. So you don't have to keep your Zillow open to try to retype that.
That's
So you're pulling all that information in,
awesome.
and
I
then
I love that. I'm sorry. That is
yeah.
with we have a system that does that for commercial properties, and it is
Mm.
so valuable that you can pull it in and not spend that time. Sorry, just I'm going to plug that. I don't even have that yet with you guys. We have the basic plan that I think we've had for years. I haven't even I knew that this stuff existed. I've just never taken the time to look
Yeah.
at it again yet. But I saw that, and that really made me take a double take the other day,
Yeah.
because you just
So
released that, right?
yeah, just probably a week ago, I think, or
Yeah.
2 weeks ago. Um, so yeah, you get that with the plus plan, but the idea being you're able to pull all this information, we're enriching it, and now you can send it off to your rater. Um, and there's less manual data entry that's involved, because it's a good amount of stuff you got to type into your raters to copy it over, and the extent that we can make that easier is kind of what we're offering here. But then we got the pro plan, which is for most people it's not going to be relevant for smaller agencies. If you've got 25 producers or more, then yeah, the pro plan might work for you. And then you just get, it's basically more of everything. More of everything, higher levels of service, support and all that stuff. But our support's been pretty good. You can always chat in through support to get help as well. Yeah, what do we got here? When you link your Canopy link on social media, do you have it in a link tree in your bio, or do you have a really short Canopy link for the viewer to type in themselves?
I just use, if I'm using the link in socials, like in a comment, I just have we actually did a bit.ly link that just says import. I don't know how we spelled it, but so something about import, and that's kind of the terminology we use, right? Import your policy documents here, or import your current policies here. But we were able to actually work with our web provider on our quote page, and we have we actually have a pop-up window that Canopy login, and I think the code was like the question mark equals open equals yes or something. I don't remember what it was, but there was used to be some code trick that you could do to pop up directly to the login page. But we have that actually embedded in our website. So if you're on the website, you click on that Canopy link, and at the bottom of every blog, so we talked a lot about our videos and our social media content. All of that drives back to the blog because we want people on our website so we can retarget those people. But at the bottom of that blog, every single blog, there's a Calendly link for our team, and there is a Canopy Connect link. And both of those buttons will do pop-ups right there on the page, never taking someone off that page, which is great for us. So we can keep people there. But it also gives them that access. So we worked really heavily to make sure that all that stuff was kind of seamless. We took a really long view of that.
Cool. Well, for those of you that have stuck with us for now for like an hour and 15 minutes, thank you so much for being here. I hope you do take action. You're obviously super interested in the topic for going into the overtime period with us. I don't know. Do you have any parting thoughts, Patrick?
One of the things we say, there are two things we say in our office basically every day. Number one is relentlessly eliminate distractions. So in everything that you're doing, you can get super distracted by any of it. If that's social media and you don't need to be doing it, stop doing it. As great as I think it is, just stop doing it. So find ways to relentlessly eliminate distractions. The other one's a little more, it sounds vulgar, but it's not, I promise, but it's get the F out. So we put that phrase in the bottom of our meeting notes. My team will ask each other, how do I get the F out of this? And it's always how to remove friction. So everything we talked about today and my whole 6-7 slides, whatever it was, is almost exclusively built around the premise of removing friction. If I can remove friction for my customers, and this is not a commercial for Canopy on this side, but Canopy removes friction for us. If we can remove the friction, then we become an easier choice down the road. If this was an easy process, if this was easy to answer these questions or provide this information or say yes or pay my bill or get my ID cards, if I can remove that friction every time we talk, it's get the F out. Nice. And I'm literally going to make t-shirts that say get the F out. And then in real small letters, it's going to say friction. Like, because we want my pastor to ask questions when I show up at church with a blazer and get the F out t-shirt on. Love it. Because he would. And I would tell him, it means friction. But yeah, those, I think if I could share any message today, that would be it, man. It's kind of the words we live by.
Nice. I love it. Well, Patrick, thank you for dropping some knowledge on us. And I think the fair way to end today's webinar is for everyone to get the F out.
I love it. I love it, man.
All right. Thanks, everyone.